Each day, the world consumes 90 million barrels of oil. Oil drives us to work, brings us around the world, powers our industries, and creates jobs. Without it, the world would be a very different place indeed. We need oil, and because of the oil sands, Canada is fast becoming a 21st century energy powerhouse. But what is the economic and environmental price we're paying for this oil? And more importantly, how do we address the tailings ponds? Is there a real long-term solution to the waste problem? And is it worth it? Well, here at Gradek Energy, we think we found the answer. And we think you'll like it.
It's very rare in one's lifetime that you come across an opportunity to make a real difference.
I would call this a breakthrough.
I think this technology is one of the greatest breakthroughs of the 21st century.
Du point de vue pétrolier, c'est absolument incroyable.
There is no other bead or oleophilic sauce like this in the world, and it's a Canadian invention.
Not only is the technology good, but the timing is good.
It's a win-win for everybody, for industry, for the environment, for the economy. Following the Kuwait War in 1991, I was invited by the royal family to come and give some assistance due to the fact that I had great connections with the oil field equipment. And I spent 3.5 months over there helping out, rebuilding, and at the same time I had the opportunity to go ahead and look how the industry was handling the environmental impact of all those burning wells and the oil lakes and so on. There was no remediation. There still is an environmental impact that is felt today in those lands, whereby the oil still stays in the sand. And up until today, there is no means that is sustainable for dealing with oil spills. When I saw the way we were doing it, it's just moving around the waste from one area to another. There had to be a better way.
These are big, fundamental world type of issues, and for one guy to be tackling those is quite a challenge. Most would just walk away.
So I embarked on a nice research study of what are the properties of oil.
Then he went into labs, did a lot of research.
From there, we've designed a molecule that would have a very high affinity for hydrocarbons.
It attracts oil and it repels water. Very simple. That's the beauty of it, how we can apply that concept in technology. However, behind that, the science is actually very, very complicated.
Initially, when you first see the technology or hear about it, it's something that's very difficult to comprehend. You have to see it to believe it. It's as simple as that.
On the surface, the bead looks remarkably simple. It's about the size of a nickel, and it's practically weightless. In fact, you might think it's just a piece of plastic. Well, looks can be deceiving. Take a closer look, and you'll discover that this bead, the result of 20 years of research, is a truly remarkable piece of technology.
What we have here is the RHS bead. What we've developed is a bipolymer. It's 100% organic, non-toxic, and it has certain characteristics in terms of surface energetics, whereby it has a very high affinity for hydrocarbons. The simplest answer is consider it as a Velcro. I've got the two parts, oil and the bead. So if I put them together, well, the oil will stick to the bead like Velcro, and you can move it around. It doesn't release, it doesn't come off until you go ahead and remove it. So it's controllable, and that's essentially what we've done. Our bead is really a super Velcro for hydrocarbons. We presented it to the oil industry and said, listen, here's where we're going. This is our vision, where we want to go to. So that's when the industry, some people in the industry said, yeah, you've got potential, and here, maybe we should, give you some direction. Where to go. It works well with oil spills on water and so on, but they don't occur every day, and when they do occur, it's a huge panic situation. However, that's when we came into the oil sands industry.
We're in the heart of Calgary right now, which is the epicenter for the energy business. To my left, you'll see offices from BP, Imperial, Exxon, Shell, Syncrude, and to my right, you'll see Husky, and a number of the major independent players. Within a 10-minute walk from our office, we can reach all the major Canadian oil and gas players.
Every single one of the oil companies here in Calgary is actively engaged in talking with new technologies, developing new technologies of their own to try and improve the situation. It has got everyone's focus here right now.
The greatest challenge facing the oil sands industry is how to separate the water and the solids in the tailings. The solution has proved elusive, and the problem is not going away.
The oil sands industry is pumping out, in terms of tailings, about 35,000 tons per hour, 24 hours a day. It's a huge amount. So it's accumulating every day, and unless they're able to go ahead and come up with a solution whereby they can remove tailings and recycle the water and the soil and avoid all of the expenses in terms of management of all the tailings, there's going to be a huge problem down the road.
The oil sands operators and the people that manage those companies, they are actively looking for new technologies that can help them resolve some of these issues.
There aren't very many elegant solutions, and I think Gradek Energy's technology is an elegant solution. It's one that's missing in the rest of the portfolio.
Everybody's been taking on an approach, okay, how do we get it out of sight, out of mind? Whereas what we're looking at is, let's take it and let's separate it and extract from it, benefits. So taking it out of sight, out of mind is an old adage, like pollution. Well, the solution to pollution is dilution. So what we have over here is the end result of clarified water and clean settled solids in a very rapid time frame. In order to get to this stage, what we have to do is remove the bitumen, and this is where the beads come in. We take the tailing stream, mix the beads with the tailing stream. The bitumen gets onto the beads, and then we remove the beads from that aqueous solution. That aqueous solution is this effluent that we've put into this graduated cylinder, and we've added a regular polymer flock, which is a substance used all over the world in wastewater treatment facilities. That facilitates the production of flocculant, which agglomerates the soil particles together, and then they will settle out rapidly. In order to go ahead and get this 15-second event, you have to remove the bitumen. Otherwise, what you're going to end up is a decades event. We're able to recover most of the heat that is presently being sent to the tailing ponds and lost into the atmosphere. So the oil sand operator is able to reuse this warm water stream immediately back for its primary process. It will be able to reduce their carbon footprint.
So now that you've seen that the bead works, you might ask how this tiny little thing can possibly handle this very big problem. Well, to answer that question, we went ahead and built a test plant.
The pilot plant was designed to be a proof of concept project. What we've done here is built everything at a smaller scale. We treat approximately 1 ton an hour of material. So what we have here is end of pipe tailings, which consists primarily of water, 10 to 15% solids content, and a 2 to 5% bitumen content. This process, as it is fully functional and demonstrates all the different elements. We transfer tailings into a mixing vessel and bring in the beads with them. During that agitation process is where all the magic happens. The result of the mixing process is bitumen-coated beads and debitumenized effluent. That effluent stream is transferred into an inclined plate separator, whereby the suspended solids now compact. Result is clarified water and compactable soils. The now bitumen-coated beads transfer into this vessel. Upon contact with naphtha, will release the bitumen. So the result here is what we call diluted bitumen, which is a refinable product. The beads are transferred along this screw and brought into the next equipment, which is a heated screw, and will allow for the naphtha to evaporate off the surface of the bead. That evaporated naphtha is condensed, reused in the washing process, and the beads themselves are reused in the mixing process. So essentially, a closed loop process.
What we foresee is that once we are able to commercialize our process and rapidly implement capacity, we'd be able to go ahead and look at eliminating most of the tailing ponds in a 10-year time frame. as well as taking up all of the end of pipe that is being produced right now as tailings.
Extracting the oil, recycling the water, reclaiming the soil. The possibilities are as endless as the oil sands themselves.
In my discussions with the oil sands operators, if we can prove at the pilot plant scale, they will be very engaged with us to try and take it to the next step.
The next task is to basically build that demonstration facility up in Fort McMurray with the collaboration of a strategic player that is in obviously the clean oil sands industry.
Our plant right now, as it stands, runs at approximately 1 ton an hour. We're scaling up to 50 times, so a 50 ton an hour plant. That's going to be sufficient enough to demonstrate that with increased capacity, we're able to achieve the same performance standards that we have at our plant right now.
And achieving that, then the possibilities and the rollout of our technology becomes very interesting.
The plants that we're conceiving right now are modular in the capacity of about 500 tons per hour. You can go ahead and put them side by side at a specific site location in order to increase the total capacity, or you can just have them one-off at different locations on their sites.
Working together, we finally have an opportunity to transform the tailings ponds back to their natural state, reduce the industry's carbon footprint, and generate resources rather than waste streams.
The Bead will now take the treatment of tailings to a totally different level.
We really need to speed up in the industry. When we disturb land in order to get at the ore to produce the oil, we need to be able to reclaim those areas a lot quicker. And through using this type of technology, we're going to be able to do that. We're going to be able to speed it up by an order of magnitude.
We are deducting less from their bottom line and coming up with greater solutions to the issue that they need to deal with.
We have to say, listen, there's a value, an intrinsic value to our operation whereby we're giving them, clean water that they can reuse, or it can go into agriculture. We're giving them clean soil that is put back into place that meets, the government directives. If you're able to go ahead and recover the bitumen, well, that's a revenue stream that you're giving back to them.
And that's good for the industry, good for the economy, and good for the environment. We like to call it a win-win-win solution. So why should you invest in Gradek Energy? Is it because our technology offers the best environmental solution for the oil sands industry? Or maybe it's because it's one of the most exciting investment opportunities of our time? Or is it because one day you'll know that you were part of something that truly made a difference in the world?